Welcome back, everybody, to the Derby City Fandom podcast. Today, we are doing a wrap-up and our final thoughts on Secret Invasion. Episode 6 finally is out, and we are here to spoil the ever-living hell out of it for those of you that haven't seen it yet. So, spoiler warning now. 3, 2, 1, spoilers going forward. All right, gentlemen, how did you like the rest of the season? Since the last time we've talked.
Wow. That's all I can say is wow.
Is it sad that I kind of agree with you that it's just kind of like a like the entire rest of the season? It starts off strong.
It started off stronger. It was, yeah, how should I say this? It was better in the beginning, and then it kind of ended on a dud. Just my opinion.
Yeah, that's fair.
It was definitely entertaining. Like, I don't regret watching it by any means. I think it was fun to watch. I think some of the acting was really good. I think the writing kind of slacked, and I think they didn't really... It was a missed opportunity.
Yeah. So, Colin, what are your thoughts?
Hey, everybody. I'm here.
Yes.
I just want to say, total sidebar, I'm never going to get, I love our intro to our podcast. It's so rocking. By the way, we did that in-house. I was on the drums, Jake was on the bass, Kenny was on guitar. Just kidding. So overall, the series to me was it was good. It was good. I definitely feel that a show focused around Fury was very much needed. And basically, to give you all a comparison, the finale was 38 minutes long.
It's like the shortest episode, isn't it?
Yeah, it's too short. Well,
Compared to all the other episodes, this was the shortest.
Okay.
So that, to me, kind of feels rushed.
Yeah. I agree with you. There is a...
So, yeah, I do have some qualms with the way the finale went, but it did answer some questions that we had, obviously, from the beginning. In each episode, for me, I felt like each episode that we watched for the past 6 weeks, we were left with some kind of cliffhanger, right? And so with this finale, I feel like we still have questions. And that is why I told you on our last mid-season review that there's definitely going to be a season 2. And I think this wraps that up.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm kind of torn now because I was a big fan of the series in the start, but then as it kept going on, I was like, man, I don't know if the writers and Marvel, they knew what to do with this. Because after watching the conclusion, I was like, maybe this would have been better as a blockbuster movie.
It feels like it
know.
needed 2 more episodes.
Yeah. See, I'm torn on that too, because one of my critiques of this was I was really looking forward to this spy thriller. And a good comparison, I'd read somewhere online that a good comparison was this should have been similar to Star Wars' Andor, and they knocked Andor out of the park. And I guess I was going into this with that kind of man, it was a missed opportunity. And I really wanted it to be this exciting spy thriller, but they threw so much other junk in there that really didn't resonate with me. That I was I don't know. I want to see Nick Fury being the spy. The spy, his secrets had secrets. That kind of. And I feel like I just never got that vibe.
Yeah, that's fair. They definitely did try to push this show as a Cold War espionage sort of film, and then you just kind of see it devolve into a superhero rival fight.
Yeah, well, Colin mentioned qualms. One of his qualms with this is oh man, they answered some questions at the end, but then it opened a whole can of worms with the superhero fight. At the very end, I don't want to jump ahead. I'm oh my gosh, there's so many questions.
Well, they just leave that there.
That let's discuss that later on in the episode. So let's do my favorite part,
Go for it.
Let's go into the whole
music.
ratings. Okay. So with IMDb, the overall series has a 6.2 out of 10.
Correct.
Doesn't surprise me.
And Rotten Tomatoes gives it a 58.
That's probably closer of how
Yeah.
I would probably rank it like a 55.
Well,
Wow.
Was that the series that they ranked 55? Are you talking about the series or just the final episode?
so
This
they
was,
actually
this
also
was the series as a whole.
yeah, they do rate the individual episodes a handful of times, and that last episode was like what kind of killed the average.
It wasn't very good. Entire
yeah.
time I watched it, I was
Okay.
like, "This is a dud. This is kind of lackluster. Like, what a dud."
Okay, so for everybody listening, so episode 1 was a 7.1. Kenny, what is this? Is this Rotten?
This is IMDb.
IMDb. Okay, so episode 1 was a 7.1, 2, 7.2, episode 3, 7.0, episode 4, 7.5. No, I read that backwards. So 4 was a 7.5, 5 was a 7.0, and 6 was a 5.7.
I think they hit the nail on the head with that. I think
yeah, that
internet's-
seems appropriate.
Yeah, it seems very appropriate.
But the overall series for me, I actually kind of disagree with the rating. I don't think it was a 58. I think they're being harsh, and I don't know what the criteria they have, but for me, the overall series, I would probably get like a 70. Maybe a 69, 68, somewhere in that high 60, low 70 range.
Sure.
Yeah, fair
But
enough.
58 to me is just
That's a
like,
bit too low.
that's low. I mean, everybody was watching this series because everybody on the web prior to this show coming on the air was like super stoked.
Right.
And then everybody's just like, oh, at
Everybody
the
kinda
end,
jumped
everybody,
the
I
ship.
just feel left down or left out. I'm going to jump ship. Exactly. And it's just like, no, you're full of shit. I'm sorry. I'm calling everybody out. Everybody loved this show. Maybe not as high as like a 9 or 10 or something like that, but definitely not a 58%.
Love's a strong word. I don't think everyone loved it. I think everyone watched it and it was
Fine.
entertaining.
Liked it.
So
Eh.
my issue with it, and I think where some people do find issue with it, is like what this means for like the next series of like films and any other like TV miniseries that they come out with. Because by the end of it, yeah, the president kind of screwed up.
Well, the president in this series overall just fucking sucked. He honestly, as a character, just sucked. Didn't really contribute anything to the fucking series. If it was more engaging, interactive, or whatever, then sure, I think the show could have been a little more intriguing. But
No.
the fact that the
President
president in the show,
The president was represented by Rhodes the entire time.
Well, that was definitely a setup, right? So the
Yeah,
whole
I mean, that was the
Ritson
point.
being,
I mean, Rhodes is the right-hand man for the president, obviously, but the president had like 4 or 5 lines in the entire series.
All of them in the last episode.
Yeah, essentially. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like that actor who played him. Like, he's been in a couple good movies. He seemed like a cool cat, but
that was one of the best pros that I gave this whole series, and even the finale was the acting was really good. I loved Samuel L. Jackson hit the ball out of the park. Olivia Colman, I thought she was phenomenal.
Yeah.
So there was some amazing acting on it. I just think the whole series as a picture, like it couldn't figure out what tone it wanted to be. Do we want to be the spy thriller, or do we want to be like this? I don't know.
Be the superhero Marvel film.
Superhero Marvel film, and then like there's like this awkward like marriage aspect of the whole thing going down. I'm like, I don't know. You guys need to figure out what you
it's a
want it to
whole
be.
like marriage being like trust kind of and all that.
you're talking about between Fury and Vara.
Yes.
Their relationship, to me, it's interesting, to say the least. And, you know, they kind of complement and also contrast with one another. Like,
Yeah.
and generally speaking, like, I think at the end, I think they kind of said it when they're at the end going up into the shuttle to go up to Saber.
Yep.
yeah, they complement one another. Like he needs her, and she needs him. And that's basically how I feel about it. Like I agree with it.
Yeah.
I think they have an interesting relationship, and it shows.
I don't trust her.
Well, that's a different
So-
topic entirely.
I don't trust her.
Yeah, we can go into the other episodes, but I guess just my biggest gripe is that literally they just leave like Gaia to do like her own thing, and rightfully so. Olivia Colman's just like, I can't do anything to stop you, even if I wanted to at this point.
All right, so we're gonna talk elephant in the room. Is this the time we're gonna talk Gaia?
Well, hold on. Do you want to do that? Like, okay, all right. Well, I was kind of hoping to start from the beginning and
Okay, we
make our
can
way
start
to
at the
that point.
beginning.
I want to start out. I want to start out with the fucking Gravik and Fury conversation.
The conversation.
when they're at the compound in the very beginning of the freaking show. What do you guys think? I think it was fucking, dude. I got some notes I want to talk about, but
Go for it.
let's do it. Okay. All right. So, their performance was phenomenal. Just that whole interaction. Obviously, the scene starts out with a, tired, sick Fury going into the compound. All the radiation is clearly affecting Fury at this point, and he's taking the iodide pills and whatnot, and he just goes into the room where the machine is built, right? And you see just Gravik just standing there. Everything, that whole conversation between Fury and Gravik, I think what's his name? Kingsley, is that his name?
Kingsley Ben Adir?
Yeah.
I believe that's the actor's name.
Dude, his whole performance in that scene alone was
Spot on.
It was spot on. Yeah, exactly. And I tend to agree with a lot of what he said in that, actually. Like, you were supposed to be, I trusted you. You were going to get us a new home. You didn't. You didn't do this. You didn't do that. So I was like, yeah, he did say all that shit.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what you guys, what about you all?
The show had a really good antagonist. The Gravik and his background of like, hey, I killed this guy. Like, you know what face I'm wearing? Like, this is the first guy that I killed, or what?
Yeah, that you ordered me to kill.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So the antagonist was really good for the series. Like, that was well written. No, it was. I enjoyed watching it. I thought it was kind of. I think everyone knew what was going to happen. I think
Did
it was
you?
a little bit predictable. Yeah, like we didn't know it was Nick Fury. I don't know. At least I didn't. Like I went into it, I'm like, that's not Nick Fury. I think
From the very beginning, did you know that was not Nick Fury?
of the finale episode.
Like that moment when he's walking into the compound and he sees Gravik, did you know at that point that was not Nick Fury?
Yeah, my gut was like, I don't know. This seems too good to be true, and I don't think they're going to kill him off, so I don't know how. I guess there was a small part of me like, oh, maybe he'll inject himself
With something or another.
with the little vial of.
Yeah, Harvest is
DNA.
a odd
Harvest.
thing to even really exist, right?
But for the most part, my gut was screaming like, that's not Nick Fury, especially how they
Yeah.
ended the last episode. So I wasn't really. I guess that's why the finale was kind of a dud for me. Like it was too
It did seem
predictable.
to rush, right?
Seemed
Like
a
if
little
that was
rushed.
like the 50 minutes like the first episode had been, I think they might have had some more room to do something.
But I do agree with you, Colin. Like I think the performance was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did have some hesitation about if that was in fact Fury or not, but that question in my head, truthfully, didn't really come about until he basically brought out the vial. I was like, okay, no, there's no way this is Fury. He either has some kind of backup plan, and if this is Fury, basically, he had some kind of backup plan. Some shit's gonna fucking go down. But realistically, no. As soon as he had that vial, he showed him like, all right, this is definitely not Nick Fury.
Yeah.
Or was it before then? It might have been before that. Was it the part where he said, where Fury said Nick Fury wouldn't, or whatever he said? You know what I'm talking about? What do you say?
I don't know.
Graphic was saying, I wrote it down.
I'm drawing a blank.
He's like saying Nick Fury wouldn't. So that's basically, yeah. And he answered Nick Fury wouldn't. So as soon as Fury said that, I knew, all right, that's not Fury.
Yeah. Well, there's a handful of things that kind of give it away also, that it's not Nick Fury. Like, if the radiation is actually that bad that it's an abandoned compound, then he wouldn't last like 8 minutes walking into the place.
Yeah,
Well,
that too.
Well, let's get on the radiation topic later on, because I definitely have some fucking air quotes qualms with that fucking bullshit. But anyway,
I think that's part. Kenny, you hit the nail on the head for me. It's like this is. Like
He's also never
plant.
like told where the place is. Like, not like.
Well, the other thing, I was reading something online, which I didn't catch this at the time, but they were saying, yeah, it made zero sense that one of the very first scenes is you see the two like guards at the gate get shot. You're like, well, weren't they expecting him? Like, doesn't Gravik want to talk to him? So you think he'd be like, hey, let this dude in. Don't try to kill him.
You also realize that by that point in the scene, like, you see Fury like look around, like all of his like lieutenants, for the lack of a better word, all of like his like soldiers, he kills all of them himself, except for those two at the gate for reasons.
Got him.
Well, that was the other thing, is the whole intro scene. Nick Fury, quote unquote, he knew where to go. So that was the other big thing for me too. I was like, how does he know? like he knew exactly where to go.
He knew exactly where to go. He clearly
had been there before.
Yeah, so it was like the radiation. He knew where to go. Like the whole thing was just like,
if I'm going into a freaking compound that's basically full of radiation, I'm going to be panicked because I'm getting poisoned by radiation. So I'm going to be quick. I'm going to go down a hallway real quick. Maybe, wrong turn, this, that, and that. I'm not going to fucking take my time and search the entire compound for this room that has a machine in it to have a conversation with a freaking alien. That just sounds fucking stupid.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I agree with you there.
I will say I think my gut told me it was going to be Gaia, but I didn't really know. So they ended the last episode off with a cliffhanger of like he's talking to somebody, like it's time. I think there was some speculation even for me. I was like, it could be anybody. It could be Talos coming back. For a while there I thought it was going to be Maria Hill. I mean, I think Gaia was the front runner. So that's one thing I did give them. Like, I don't know, who is that? And I guess that was kind of the fun aspects. Like, I want to keep the show never really kept me guessing. It did in parts, small parts like that example, but for the most part, I'm like, I don't know. It's kind of like
there's just a handful of nitpicks, right? That kind of ends up like tearing this show apart.
Yeah, I did like the hospital scene though.
Hospital scene was dope.
Yeah, well, those two scenes basically kind of coincide, overlap with one another. So I agree. Yeah, that whole like while they're talking, you have the hospital scene, and clearly somebody is a Skrull. You realize that at this point, right? And so, all right. So is Nick Fury at the hospital, or is Nick Fury really at the compound? And clearly, we get the answer there. Nick Fury's at the hospital, and he's going after the president to basically
keep him from nuking Russia.
Well, that and to prove to the president, hey, your right hand best BFF is actually a fucking Skrull, by the way.
Yeah.
And you have Sonya, whatever the fuck her name is, basically help him out at the hospital, and they, the president's being wheeled around in a hospital bed. Which, by the way, did y'all notice what his hospital room looked like?
It had one of those LED fireplace.
It had a fireplace. What fucking hospital has a fucking fireplace?
Europe.
British, man.
Dude, what? No, that's bullshit. Obviously, if the president is going to get shot or wounded or something, yeah, he's going to probably go to like a top grade A hospital and have, grade A service, if you will. But a fireplace, come on. And every single freaking room in there, the entire hallway looked like a prison to me. Everything is white. Not everything is white.
Have you ever been to a
hospital.
hospital? It basically is a prison.
Well, touche. But yeah, I part of me was laughing a little bit the way he's being wheeled around in a hospital bed, and then the Secret Service guys are roaming the halls because we got a breach. Like,
I thought it was kind of fun. I thought the hospital scene was kind of fun.
Yeah,
You see
it
Nick
was
Fury
fun.
and Sonya Fallsworth, which is
just
she's
going
the
around and
Nicole.
shooting Secret Service people.
Yeah, they're like
with
working
a
together.
sleep dart.
You see like agents falling, dropping left and right. I was like, this is kind of cool. Like they're rushing to the elevator, and
Yeah.
you know there's going to be a confrontation. Like this is going to end with Nick Fury like confronting
Rhodes.
right in front of the president. The president's gonna be like, "Oh, what do I do? This and that." And then obviously you see Nick Fury shoot him. You see like the purple. Is it purple blood or green blood or
it's
whatever?
purple.
You just see it, you're like, "Well, shit."
Well, the thing that baffles me a little
thought it
bit
was fun.
is the president fucking asked the Secret Service dude for a gun.
Actually, I appreciate that because your entire time,
Be like, I can't trust you fuckers. Just give me a gun.
Well, you joke about that. The entire time I was watching this, I tried to put myself in like the president's shoes. I was like, I'd ask for a gun. I would immediately like secretly like, I want a gun in my hand.
Yeah.
So
But
I'm glad
it's-
they did that because I think that was like the natural response.
Yeah.
All right, that's fair, I guess. I mean, I couldn't help but kind of like, oh, bullshit. The president would ask for a gun, but with you saying that, yeah, there's might be some truth to that.
And is the guy going to tell the president no?
Well, his reaction looked like honestly, like
So, like,
he's
are you
like,
serious?
Are you serious? But he looked butthurt about it. It's like, I'm not gonna give you my gun. Her name is freaking Shelby or some bull. I don't know. That was a terrible name to pick, but you get the secret agent looked a little butthurt. Secret Service dude.
Well, yeah. The president basically told you you're bad at your job. Give me your gun.
It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's jump back onto the topic here. So we're at the point where, you know, he shows Gravik, well, really Gaia at this point. Gaia shows him the harvest, the little vial.
Yes.
And so he takes it from him and puts it in a little machine. Then you see the machine activate.
You see all the different names.
Oh, let's get into that real quick. I actually went back and looked
dude.
up.
It was a lot.
Did you as well, Kenny?
Well, I caught some of like the more like important ones. Like, hey, we have a name for Groot's race now.
Okay, so
Yeah,
I
noticed that.
actually went back and looked it up. So the names that appeared across the computer was, in fact, Abomination, Black Panther, Captain America, Captain Marvel, Chitauri, Corvus Clave, Drax, Ebony Maw, Gamora, Ghost, Hulk, Korg, Mantis, The Outriders, Proxima Midnight, Thanos, Thor, Valkyrie, Winter Soldier, Cull Obsidian. I put Groot, but Extremis and Frost Beast.
I was going to say Groot is a floral colossus.
Okay.
Is the name.
Got it. But yeah, so essentially, yeah, he puts that in, the machine activates. What was Gravik's
Plan.
thought? What was his thought?
What was his plan?
leaving air quotes Fury inside the machine with him.
It'd probably kill him outright. So
How
Yeah.
would that not, though, affect a human? Obviously, you're a Skrull. You are an alien, so you built the machine for your specific needs, ideally,
Yeah.
right? So
It is designed
clearly,
for
this
Skrull
is
only.
going to affect a human. Maybe his thought process is, yeah, this is definitely going to kill him. Or maybe, I don't know, in the past movies that we've seen, some shit like that always typically affects a human.
yes, but it wasn't accidental though. That was on purpose.
Yeah,
Sure.
I don't. Yeah, that was another big plot hole. Because the entire time I was watching that scene, I was like, why would he leave him
Why would he leave him there?
in the middle? Like, why would he want to give even the smallest chance of give Nick Fury like
A chance.
You're about to die, but let me give you the power of Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
It's funny, like they go through the entire list of people that Colin did, right? And Carol Danvers is up there, sure, but she's not even the most powerful one out of that list.
Maybe.
Well,
She's
I don't
up
know.
there.
She's up there.
she's up there, buddy.
Yeah, but it's you got the Hulk, you got Thor, you got Thanos, all in that same list.
Yeah.
And Carol Danvers is the one that they mention because that's the one that the Skrull recognize, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you all enjoy the fight scene?
Yeah, I thought the fight scene was actually kind of badass, but
It didn't last anywhere near long enough.
I noticed something, and then I listened to another podcast, and I was like, "Holy shit! I wasn't the only one to notice this." But the fact that Gaia, Emilia Clarke, when she is basically changing and basically we see that she is going to have all these powers too, she kept like flexing her arms and shit. Did you notice that?
Like Drex.
Yeah, like so you have like Hulk biceps and you have like Drax biceps and all this. I'm just like, that's kind of comical. So how did you act that out knowing
that you suddenly just became like 300 times stronger.
Yeah,
You flex.
Yeah, you pretty much just flexed that.
I enjoyed the fight scene. I thought it was kind of clever. I think the CGI at parts was horrible. I don't blame Emilia Clarke for this. I think it's just weird. Like you see Emilia Clarke, she's a little more petite, and it is what it is. And then she has like this like giant Drex arm. I'm like, I don't know. This is a little weird.
It does seem like oddly photoshopped, right?
Yeah, it
like
seemed
it
a
has
little too much
Photoshop
She-Hulk. Like it's kind of like I don't know. This is.
It was.
But in terms of the fight scene itself, I thought it was fun to watch. I thought it was enjoyable because you can tell that Gravik was just pure like power. Every single
choice that he made in that fight, well, he chose like the ones that he knew were like strength based physical.
Exactly. Then Gaia, like she started out with strength based physical, and she's like, yeah, I'm not gonna be able to beat him strength. So she got a little more clever with it, with who Mantis and Ghost, and so like no shit, she whooped his ass because she was just. That little small tidbit was interesting. I found that really clever and fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all DNA based, so it's going to be in your system. It's not something like you would have to like learn. You know what I mean? Like it's in your core, it's in your blood. So obviously, if you want to do something specific, you are going to do it instantaneously, right?
But you're not trained in it, right?
Well, there's yes and no to that, but like you just said, Gravik was more physical based, and she tried to match that, but she outsmarted him and used the Mantis powers of controlling the mind and saying sleep, and then you just see him fall straight to the ground in this freaking like dirt cloud. It's kind of comical a little bit, but I feel like when that happened, I was expecting him to be out, but he basically came to almost right away. So it didn't really make sense to me, but whatever. It's Marvel.
I would also like to point out that his supposedly fatal wound, like he has like all the powers that would allow him to survive that after the fact anyways.
Yeah, I was wondering that. I mean, like she blasted a fucking hole through his chest though, right? So I was like, I mean, where do you draw the line?
Where do you draw the lines? Like I'm pretty sure she Captain Marvel beamed through the chest. So if anything is going to do it, that probably would. But with Extremis, with Groot, with Hulk, with any of the other like Asgardian, like you have a list of superhero DNA that have like innate healing factors that would be able to like get around that.
Yeah. So you thought, Kenny, the fight sequence was just too short?
Yeah, I think it was too short. I do like that she did have to like try to like outsmart him with like the other powers. Because like she tried like Ice Blade didn't work.
Nope.
She tried like Hulk and Drax, like physical, like beat the crap out of him, didn't work.
You saw some Abomination. That was more
Gravik. And you also see some Thanos in Gravik as well because he has the chin,
the freaking ball sack of a chin.
Yes. And you see all of that. But then you just see her do like her big like superhero landing with the
insert Deadpool.
Big superhero landing. Oh gosh, my brain will always go to that now. But
you're welcome.
With the Captain Marvel abilities, and it just ends up like working out in her favor. Like she just has a handful of like just other options that she considers first. And I think because of that, the fight ends up being a lot quicker than it should have been.
Yeah.
Sure. Overall, it was a cool scene. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
What's next? What's next?
Next scene is basically the president making his speech, I guess, of saying, "Hey,
Making the speech.
we know who you are. If you're from out of this world, we will figure out who you are, and we're gonna come after you, essentially." And so
he does like a global impression of Clint Eastwood. Get off my lawn.
yeah.
So I guess that obviously sets up like Thunderbolt Ross, and even Nick Fury throws the one line, and they're like, "Well, it really makes that's something a one-term president would do, sir." It's like, okay. so I immediately thought, I was like, this is going to set up so much more. It's, sets up Harrison Ford's character of President Ross. But
Yeah.
I was curious, because he's like, any alien, anyone not from planet Earth is an enemy. So what does that mean for Asgard, or New Asgard? You think they're going to do anything with that, or is that just another plot hole?
You see, I think that's where a lot of like the weird, well, maybe not weird, but kind of like the justified like low ratings come from, is that it leaves like a lot of plot holes. Like, yeah, people, although like New Asgard is like its own like sovereign like city kind of thing, it's also like not in America. So why would America care?
Yeah, it's true. Well, they're trying to make this kind of global, right?
Yeah.
essentially.
So they're showing Skrulls getting shot. That sucks
Well,
for the
actually,
British Prime Minister.
not just
Not
Skrulls.
just
They
Skrulls.
were
Yeah.
killing humans too, which is like, all right, you're making mistakes clearly and killing humans as well. So that's fucked up.
Yeah, you don't really like when Fury is talking to the president, President Ritson. He's not really processing, I guess, the gravity of what he said until like Fury talks to him,
Yeah.
and then he's just like, "Oh,
Well, it's not really his fault. Let me give you some context here. So I want the president to realize, and obviously this didn't happen, but a Skrull saved his life, aka Talos, right? And so, like, Talos's whole thing essentially was, we're going to basically take care of Earth. We're going to help you all defend yourselves, essentially. And then when we take care of you, we want something in return. And so with Talos basically saving the president, nobody freaking realized that a Skrull is helping save the president. No Secret Service, no military personnel or anything notices that the president is being saved by a alien. Right? Nobody knows. I feel like that would be one of the first things you have in a debriefing, essentially, right?
Yeah.
it's like, oh, this weird guy with green skin and elf ears was
Saving my life. So like,
saving
all
our
right,
lives.
if that happened to me, yeah, I'm gonna be a little shocked and like maybe scared at first, but I'm gonna be like, all right, let's
Okay,
have
maybe
a
they're not
conversation.
all bad.
Maybe there could be a mutual relationship here. Maybe you can profit off me, I profit you, that kind of vibe,
Yeah. Unfortunately, Talos doesn't survive that encounter.
Doesn't survive that encounter. President doesn't even realize who saved him, aka Skrull, and then he freaking launches an all-out war against all off-world beings.
Yeah,
So that's kind of fucked.
a little bit,
But I guess that makes for a good story,
kind of, sort of.
Yeah, it makes for a good story. I think they're just setting it up for a lot more to come down the road. But
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess it really just depends. Like the next time we see like something Marvel happening like around the same time, like what is like the end movie aftermath of what has happened, right? Or end show aftermath.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to have to be... I think this will definitely overlap into Secret Wars. Because, well, before we get to that point, actually, let's talk about while the president is basically giving that speech, you have in another scene going on, like they're going through the compound, and
They find everybody.
they find everybody, and Gaia also lets everybody out, like Rhodey and all of those people out of the machines. But underneath the compound itself, there's like thousands of people, which brings me to the conversation I want to talk about before, the radiation, and it's freaking fucking people up if you can come within a 10-mile radius of that place. But there's just these people on beds with the little sheets,
Yeah,
the
don't
little
worry
cloth
about it,
over
though.
them, like
Don't think about it too hard.
Yeah.
plot armor, I guess. I don't know, whatever you want to call it.
There's holes everywhere, called.
But obviously we see Rhodey. We see Rhodey in one of the machines, and he's clearly in a hospital gown.
That's the question everyone's wondering. That is the biggest question.
Like, at what
from
point-
the series.
At what point
Did he get
we
body jacked?
does he get body jacked exactly? Where and when? Like you said, the internet's raving about this right now, and I'm with them. I want to know too.
It
Yeah.
has to be Civil War. I mean, if it wasn't Civil War,
I'm thinking
Why else-
Infinity War.
why else
Endgame,
put him
maybe.
in the hospital gown?
Because he got the
He-
teeth
it
kicked
was-
out of him.
It was out. Well, see, I don't know if it was a hospital gown or if we don't really know because he's doing like physical therapy too. So
Yeah, because
it
he
could
has a
be-
limp through most of the stuff that he's in.
He can't walk.
Yeah.
At the end of Secret Invasion, he's helped by Agent Ross, correct? So he can't walk.
By Ross and then a handful of, I guess, just other soldiers that got.
some randos. Yeah, so he's definitely body snatched for sure. But at what point?
It has to be in the end of Civil War.
Yeah. Tell us your thoughts.
Yeah, let us know.
Let us
I mean,
know.
what do you all think? You think it was before or after?
I think after Endgame.
After Endgame?
No, I'm
Yeah,
thinking
because he
it's-
had
it's
his
before
limp and
that.
his crutch right when he
So here,
was going through that
no,
big scene.
Okay, so it has to be before or during Infinity War, but at the same time, if in fact
Did he
a
blip?
Skrull Rhodey,
He did blip.
yeah, no, Rhodey did not, no,
I don't remember.
because in Endgame he has that conversation with Black Widow over the monitor and shit, and he's basically trying to help her find Barton, aka.
That's right. Yeah.
That's right. You are correct.
Thank you. Hey,
right.
everybody hear that? I was told I was right. But anyway, no, I think it's interesting because if that was a fact, like during Infinity War, even before that, that means he would be a Skrull, and why the fuck would a Skrull be helping the Avengers fight Thanos? But Thanos,
do I need to say?
but Thanos basically and the Skrulls, they don't get along either.
Well, nobody gets along with Thanos. Thanos barely
Well,
gets along
I'm
with
just
Thanos.
saying, there's some. Yes, obviously, Rhodey was snatched somewhere, but I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it.
I don't know what they're trying to accomplish here. Because I think I truly do. My gut just screams, "Oh, they're planting the seed for like post Civil War," because he's wearing the hospital gown, he can't walk. But then it's like, as a fan, as an MCU watcher, as a viewer, I'm like, man, like that just partially ruins all the Rhodey scenes after Civil War. So like we were talking about Endgame and Infinity War and all that. I'm like, how do you explain that? It's like, I don't know. You can't. So I think they're trying to plant the seed to see like what the backlash will be if it's going to be Civil War, but I have a feeling that they're not gonna. They're going to probably pull the rug on it. Like, you know what? It just hasn't been that long.
And also, one question I saw online. So with him being body snatched, does he know that Tony Stark is dead?
I don't know.
That's why I think it happened after Endgame, like sometime after like the scene, the kind of like the send off burial
But
ceremony.
you just said like in Endgame in the ceremony he wasn't limping.
Right, but he also wasn't moving either. He had a crutch.
I don't. Yeah, it's confusing because if they make Rhodey a Skrull before that, I think it just ruins. It takes away that whole end game, like him and Tony Stark talking to each other on the battlefield. It's like, how can you take that away? How can you strip that away from? So I don't know. They're in a pickle with this one.
Yeah.
And it wasn't worth it because that was like one of my least favorite parts of this whole series was when they like revealed with like the mirror that he was a Skrull. I was like, really? And they even ruined it the episode before, like on the phone call.
Yeah.
I was like, this is horrible.
Well,
This is supposed to be like the biggest thing. It's like, what the fuck?
I don't know if you realize, but that scene, it basically implies that the Skrull that body snatched Rhodey is in fact a female Skrull.
Yep.
Yes.
So what is the role of that female Skrull? What is that Skrull's name? And does
Rava, I believe.
Grava.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
they say it. It's
Raava.
Okay, did they say it? I must have missed that. Maybe I didn't. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Anyway, what is her relationship in the chain of command of compared to like Gravik and everything?
Just another one of the soldiers, I suppose.
But if you remember when Rhodey is talking to Priscilla in the church, he basically says to her, I'm not really going to do what Gravik tells me to do or not. I'm going to do what I need to do. Like, clearly there's a chain of command, like, fight there going on, you know what I'm saying? So, like,
Sure.
Is that particular Skrull, like, of royalty, like king, queen, maybe like princess, something like that, or maybe an officer, something. There's something
I don't
in
know.
it.
Yeah, I'm not for sure.
Maybe that's me overthinking, but no, I
You
don't
might
think
just
it
be
is.
overthinking that.
No, I think she has a higher role, but clearly it doesn't really matter because that Skrull's dead. So
Yeah.
And it's done.
Yep.
So yeah, and then we see, you know, with the president's order to basically kill off-world beings, see everybody, human and Skrull or alien alike, are being killed. And on like press conferences seems to be the common theme there.
Yeah, it's a shit show.
Yeah.
It's not a good time to be in politics.
And then you see Sonya and Gaia had their little conversation. What'd y'all think about that?
That is very interesting. And I think that's, I mean, hopefully we'll see it come to fruition at some time. But I think it helps. I think it sparks interest. And it probably potentially sets up something else going down the road, because I don't know. I mean, I think there is. There's like a British. Kenny, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't there like a British kind of version of the Avengers? I don't know what it's called. I would have to look it up. But MI something. But
Well, I mean, MI16 is always a thing. That's just like the CIA, FBI equivalent in Britain, and that's what like Sonya like becomes in charge of after she kills her boss who got scrolled.
Yeah, that was a pretty cool scene.
Yeah. I mean, damn, is Olivia Colman and Sonya's like scenes just like the saving grace for the back half of this show?
I mean, I think
She had like the weird British humor that it hits just the weird
she is.
mark that it
No,
needs to.
you're right, Kenny. She might be one of the saving graces of this entire series.
she was phenomenal.
Every scene she's in, she's a total badass, and she doesn't play fucking games. She basically does what she has to do. I mean, she'll cut off your finger, she'll freaking shoot you in the head, whatever she has to do, she'll do it. Or she'll do the whole politics thing or whatnot. So, yeah, I really enjoyed her in this series.
I just think they're setting something bigger up with the British, and I love seeing it at the end of there. I'm a big fan of. I was a big fan of her.
Of love scenes?
But going back to the British comment, it's like Blade's coming out, right? So he's British, so they're gonna have to set up something with Blade. And then you also have Black Knight, which was Kit Harington after Eternals. So I think they're trying to like piece something together going forward. We don't really know what. So I think there's, I mean, hell, we may never see it come to fruition, but
Yeah.
it's kind of interesting.
Well, it's like regardless, we have a long time to wait because of the writers and actors strike.
Yeah.
Which
Hey,
kind
more power to him.
Which kind of brings us to, yeah, that's an interesting point. It'll be fun. I'm excited.
All right, last thing I want to talk to you
All right,
about.
last points.
Last points. Are they in another pickle with Gaia? because isn't she by far the most powerful being in the freaking universe at this point?
She's a super Skrull.
So the answer to that in short form is yes.
Like, where the hell do they go from here with that?
Really anywhere. Right?
Oh, that's a good question.
I don't know. Like, that it has me worried and I hope, I mean, I hate to say this, but like, I hope there's some like bullshit back way. Like Nick Fury's like, all right, the harvest, but it only lasts for 48 hours.
Oh,
or something.
like Raya just volunteers to go back to the machine and just get all of it removed or some
Yeah,
random
I hope,
thing.
because otherwise, like, I don't know how.
How anybody deals with it.
Yeah, how do you deal with that? I don't know. So I don't know where from a story writing, like, where the hell do you go from
So
here?
the short answer to that is that there is always something bigger and better until Marvel writes a reason for one of the heroes to get a power up that makes them bigger and badder than the big bad.
Yeah.
Right? So at this point, like the few things that could even like potentially stop like Gaia would be like Galactus, would be any number of the Celestials.
It's true. Yeah, that's true.
And that's basically where you're left.
Kang.
Terrible movie.
Kang, maybe. But
Kang.
they wrote him into a shithole, so I doubt it.
Which Kang?
I mean, any of the infinite number of ones that are still alive, right?
Not the one from Ant-Man.
Oh, no. Okay.
That was a low blow, but I loved it.
Yes. The infinite number of Kangs minus one, right?
Yeah, no, I'm kind of. You made it. That's a good question, Jake. I'm kind of getting like Game of Thrones esque vibe here. Like we're cheering for Gaia this entire time, and then at the last episode, we're gonna have a Kit Harington character fucking
Just stab her.
Like Amelia Clark's gonna pull another Daenerys Targaryen.
Yeah, she's gonna have to fucking die. That's a good point. Either she's gonna go like. All right,
I'd laugh my ass off if they let Kit Harington kill her off in the MCU.
I don't know. my bad.
Right?
You think, I bet it's coming. I bet they do that.
They're gonna rope Kit Harington from whatchamacallit and Gaia into some feature film, and it's basically gonna be like, oh, I think you and I would fall in love, and then shank.
I don't know. They'll probably do what they did with Captain Marvel. It's just like, oh, she's out somewhere trying to find a home planet, so she's just wandering the galaxy until reason she needs to show up. Insert reason here.
Yeah.
Right.
You're probably right, Kenny. I'm sure there's a
I think that's my biggest
right.
nitpick is that we didn't see Carol Danvers actually show up at any point in this series.
We didn't really see any Avenger, and I actually, in the beginning,
He explains why, which I appreciate.
yeah, but in the beginning, I actually said, I could see some kind of cameo happening within the series.
We don't get any.
We don't get any.
Don't get
So I'm kind of relieved that I was proven wrong there. So
Yeah.
it is fine.
Like the
Yeah, I'm torn on that comment, Colin, because obviously I was looking forward to at least a cameo, but I think they kind of did it with the Harvest when they showed all the names. It was like the cheapest way for them to do the cameo. But
Sure.
I was fine with all right, fine. They're trying to make this less kind of they're trying to make this more spy thriller,
Yeah.
which I'm fine with. But then
But then it's also happening in the Marvel universe, so you can't involve.
yeah,
You
like having the
can't
Marvel
not,
universe.
like, not get this guys involved, right?
But all the badass spies, I mean, it goes back to my point about Kobe Smulders, Maria Hill. It's like you fucking kill her off the first episode.
Yeah.
It's like you're this is a spy thriller. And like you could have done so much more with it that I'm like, I don't know. It could have been so much more.
Yeah. Oh boy.
So one thing that I kind of wanted to bring up earlier, and I totally forgot until just now, was when their Gravik and Fury are kind of having their conversation, and no, not Gravik, it was Priscilla. They're talking,
Yeah.
and excuse me, God bless. So after he got blipped and he came back and whatnot, she asked him, like, how did you feel, like, after the fact, or something along the lines of, like, once you got blipped, how did you feel? And it's like, I felt relief or something along the lines of that. You know what I'm saying? You remember
that felt genuine for how like Fury was being portrayed through like the entire film. It's just like, man, I just wanted to be done.
But if you recall, at the end, the post-credit scene of whatchamacallit, before Endgame, Infinity War, you see Samuel L. Jackson get blipped, and then he pushes the pager for Carol Danvers, right? But what he says is motherfucker. So is that like a motherfucker, like, dude, I've got so much on my fucking plate that I need to be doing right now, like, I want to fight, this kind of thing? Or was like a motherfucker, you fucking got me? Like, you know what I'm saying?
I think that was more of a, I'm Samuel L. Jackson, and that's the, like, you know, if I had enough time to say one word, what would it be?
I interpret it more as, let's get Samuel L. Jackson to say motherfucker.
That's fair. That's fair. No, but seriously, was that comment that he made in the post-credit scene, was that a sign of relief, like, motherfucker, you got me, we're cool, whatever? Or is that a motherfucker like, we have shit we got to do?
I think it was more of, we got shit we had to do.
Exactly. So that's when that's my point, is like, when that comment of I felt relief didn't really make sense to me.
Yeah.
Was that to graphic? I don't remember. Was that to graphic or Priscilla? If you know in the comments, correct me. Sorry, I've had a beer or two. Don't condone underage drinking, by the way.
I'll edit that part out.
Okay, that's fine. But yeah, and then we get to the last scene where Priscilla and Fury are about to go into the little shuttle to go back up to Saber.
Go back up.
What'd y'all think about that scene?
Indifferent. I don't know.
Indifferent. With the rest of the episode, it almost feels like tonally deaf. It doesn't seem to really fit.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? Like, I think, while sure, like, they've gone back and forth to, like, try to establish this relationship, I think that it needed more time to actually develop any sort of connection with the audience.
Yeah, it goes back to my initial comments. I agree with you, Kenny, of this whole series. They couldn't figure out what they wanted the tone to be. And they ended this whole thing. It's like, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
It's like, here you're trying to build this relationship and marriage, and now they're going off to Saber to try to broker this deal. And I'm sure that's setting up for the Marvels,
between the Kree.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I wonder who's responsible for Kree changing their mind.
No, I call bullshit. It's 100% bullshit. It's like, what'd she say? What's the Skrull's quote? Like, any luck is bad luck.
Yeah. Like, what do you call good luck? You call good luck bad luck.
Yeah. So no, I like the Kree coming forward and saying, "Hey, let's broker a deal or whatever the fuck," and basically let's try and mend things over. No, I'm sorry, I don't believe that one bit. And I think Priscilla knows that, but she has to go anyway.
Right. And the reason why I say is like, oh, I wonder who did that. Well, you do get the promise from Carol Danvers that she's going to destroy the Prime intelligence.
Sure.
So if that had actually happened like off screen, then I could see why the Kree would change their mind, because their overlord basically just got eradicated.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so it's an interesting scene. Then obviously she turns into her Skrull self, which whatever, but then they end up kissing. I thought that was kind of weird. And you know what actually came to mind when that scene happened? It kind of gave me that Star Trek kind of flashback of when Shatner and what's the African-American woman's name that basically is the first interracial kiss on live television.
Mm-hmm. Oh, shoot, what was her name? I don't remember.
But that's what kind of came to mind, because you don't see in films nowadays, or at least I can't really think of any at the moment, is some opposite species like having some kind of relationship like that.
Guardians. You see him Guardians.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's fair. I don't know. But when that scene happened, that's literally the first thing that came to mind is that interracial kiss.
Yeah, I think that's what they were trying to imply and drive home. Now,
Or maybe that's me freaking overanalyzing story of my life.
probably a little bit, but
there's some truth to it, though.
yeah, I think they were trying to kind of imply something underlying, whatever.
Yeah.
It's okay to be who you are, or
Exactly.
whatever the fucking story you want to tell with that. But all right, let's get into closing thoughts. I'm having fun tonight for sure.
Yeah. My closing thoughts is I am looking forward to see what they do with Gaia's character. I want to see what the in-universe aftermath is after the president basically causes effectively more damage than Gravik did. If you think about it, in the long term.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Earth is in trouble.
Earth is actually still on fire.
Yeah.
It's just that now you have a whole lot of paranoid, crazy people trying to vigilante their way to saving the human race, right? And that generally doesn't end well.
Is it really worth saving?
They're trying to figure that out in the Marvel
That's
series.
Very pessimist point of view. Just being real.
Yeah.
What about you, Jake?
Fun watch. It was entertaining, interesting at parts. A lot of holes everywhere, but it's going to come with the territory with how far in we are with MCU. Do not regret watching it. I don't know if I'd go back and rewatch it.
It's going to be at least like a 2-3 year wait before I try to rewatch it, I think.
Yeah, I think the only reason I would rewatch it is they do there's a lot of this to set up what's coming up in the future.
Sure.
So I think it does leave me excited for what's coming up in the future. I think it was still a missed opportunity as a series itself, or maybe it should have been a movie or a longer series. I don't know. Overall, I thought the acting, I'm going to sound like a broken record here, but the acting was phenomenal. Other than that, kind of clinging on to the past. I wish they probably would have had more time with, maybe at the end with Colonel Rhodes, or did something more with Maria Hill, or maybe it had some type of Avenger kind of cameo.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Colin, I think you've said your piece, but do you have any final thoughts to add?
Just a few things. I may repeat myself once or twice, but there's one thing that I'm going to quote somebody on. But overall, the series was good. We definitely needed a Fury-focused series of some kind, rather than a series or a movie, whatever. But, yeah, I really overall enjoyed the show. I don't agree with you all. I probably will watch this again to basically figure out any kind of points that I may have missed out on. I'll probably do that within the next month or two. But one thing that I do want to quote another podcast on was that this is of typical Marvel fashion. We're being brought into the third act, per se,
Yes.
of something. And we're all just supposed to be like, oh, okay, cool. But like, there was no gradual warm up to essentially get to this point. It was just, you're thrown into the mix, go with it. But I guess all of our questions in regarding to what is going on, I think the first thing that you should watch is, Captain Marvel. Watch this series to get an idea of where things are at. And then with the Marvels film that's coming out here shortly, we'll definitely answer some of the questions potentially about this series as well. And then the other Marvel stuff after the stupid writer strike that's going on will definitely help alleviate some of our stress. But overall, I like the series. Like I said, in all of our episodes, be sure to look us up on all social media and podcast streaming services. You find us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, Amazon Music, etc. Give us a like, give us a follow, give us a comment. If you have an idea for a episode, give us a shout out and let us know. Otherwise, I'm done talking.
All right. I think we'll catch you guys next time.
see you, bye.